Welcome back to the Red Eye Garage. I'm Seth, and today we're going to do a few things to make this Jeep street legal. One thing every Jeep needs to be able to legally drive on the street is a horn. But we're not going to use this one. Well, we might, but that's not what this video is about. So a lot of you might look at this and say, there's a horn right here, that's all you need. But this is actually a vacuum powered whistle, and this is not legal for street use, so this is only for silly videos, private property, not for use on road. But it sure does sound cool. So this is an old Yoder manufacturing vacuum powered whistle. It's called a wolf whistle or a Hollywood whistle, and it runs off of engine vacuum. So you just plumb this into any vacuum source on your engine. I have a little rod that actuates it, and it makes pretty cool sound. And while that is a pretty cool addition to any hot rod or Jeep or whatever, it's just for shows and playing around on the property and stuff like that. Since this Jeep is old, so a lot of this is from the 1915, 1920 era, and I've got a lot of brass stuff on it. I did pick up this Model T horn, and I plan to mount it somewhere because I think it's cool, polish it up, and it's fun for kids at Jeep shows and stuff to give it a honk. But I don't want to rely on this for when someone pulls out in front of me or whatever. So that's what we're going to work on today. Although it's not period correct and doesn't look cool or sound cool, I'm going with a traditional style horn. I have Awuga horns on some of the other Jeeps, and those are cool. But we're just going to tuck this somewhere discreet, and this will be nice and loud and check all the boxes. This is not a sponsored video. I picked up this harness on Amazon, but I will put the link in the description in case anybody wants to use it. And this is actually a truck light horn. It says clear tone on the horn, but it came in a truck light box, and I got it at a scratch and dent store for $6. So they make good stuff, and that'll get the job done. And I liked how small and simple it is. That will do the job. The harness is just a universal 12-volt horn harness with a relay, and everything's already kind of pre-terminated. I expect we'll have to maybe shorten some things, but I think this was like $7 on Amazon, and it came with a switch. I like this switch because I don't have to drill a hole in the dash. I'll probably just use some double-sided tape in a discrete area. I'm not going to have the button on the wheel, which is pretty common because horn isn't something we really use a lot, but you gotta have one. So I'm just gonna start by opening this harness up and seeing what we got to work with. I don't like wires. I'm trying to keep this Jeep clean looking, and it's so simple. There's no computer and big wiring harness, so I want to try to keep that theme going and keep everything looking tidy. I don't like messy wiring. So this actually looks pretty good. I was worried it'd be like 20 feet long. So it just has a simple relay with a couple of wires coming out of it. There are no instructions with this, so we're just going to figure it out as we go. But I really like these types of harnesses because they really simplify it for you. So it's got the ground right here, and it has a relay already mounted. And these are nice because if this relay fails, you don't have to worry about where the connections are. This is a universal number 87 relay, but you can get these harnesses for the price. Like if you go into Napa and just get one of these, it's going to be like $8 to $10 at least, whereas on Amazon you can get this whole kit and caboodle with a switch for the same price. Now I'm sure this is made in China, but for a horn, a fuel pump or something, I put a good quality relay on, but for a horn, I don't really care if this relay it doesn't last that long or fails while I'm out in the woods. We'll still make it home. Now we'll move on to the switch. I can tell already this harness is very long, but that's okay because they made it so you can run it into the side of the cab of your truck or machine or whatever you're putting it on. So that's okay if it's really long. They did put terminals on the wire, but I can add my own. I'll probably just cut it to length and add my own wires. So this is just a, momentary, normally open switch. So when you push the button, it connects the circuit and makes the relay energize and the horn go toot toot. It even comes with a little double-sided adhesive, so I'll probably put this under the bottom edge of the dash, and then you just push up on this. It's very easy to push. I got the wiring all sorted out. It's super simple, but I wanted to test it on the ground before I cut anything or installed anything. So let me show you what's what. Over at the horn side, the black and yellow just go to one side of the horn and the other. It doesn't matter, you can't mix them up. And then these other two wires are, this harness is for dual horns, so I'm gonna only run one so I can snip those off and simplify it a little bit. The other two wires are to the relay trigger, so one is positive, one is negative. These also are interchangeable, so you're just opening and closing a circuit, so it's super simple. And if you mix them up, so if you mix up either of these or these, it's still going to work. And then on the relay, you just have the mount and a little post here. That's for ground. So you can pull that one up and ground your mounting bolt right to the relay. So that simplifies it. And then the big lug here with the fuse just goes to the battery. Ideally, you'd have it hooked up so it's always energized, so your horn works even if your engine's off. So these two are the only ones we really have to do anything with other than the power and the ground. So and you can set your switch up so it grounds or sends power. I usually set it up so it sends power. It's a very low draw since the relay has the main power source. These are just trigger wires. So we'll just ground one and have our power coming through our switch to trigger the other one. I was looking a little closer at the horn, and it actually has this mounting stud on the back, so you can use the bracket that it came with. It has another bracket extension on it, so you have a couple different mounting options. Or this is a 5/16 18 stud. You can mount it right to the back of there. You know, you want to put it somewhere it's not going to get packed full of mud, and wherever you mount it, you can have stuff touch the back of the case. But this front disc needs to move freely, otherwise the tone won't be right and it'll be real muted. Here's where I decided to mount it, so it's kind of right under the headlight. I wanted it pointing forward to get the best sound, but I didn't want it cluttering up all the beautiful open space here. So I kept it back far enough so when I add the turn signals or marker lights, that it's not a problem. And the relay is right there. Super simple wiring. So I showed you the verbal wiring diagram. So I think I'm going to just tuck the extra two wires back out of the way. I was going to cut them off. I might just put shrink wrap on them, because if I ever want to add a second horn, then I won't have to splice anything back in. So that's where it is. Then I ran the wiring inside the frame and popped it out here, and I just connected the main power source right to the starter lug, because that's right to the battery, and the horn really doesn't take a ton of power. So now I just need to zip tie these out of the way. So there's the fuse for that. I'll probably attach that in the frame there somewhere. And then this is my little horn trigger wire, so that one's pretty discreet. I'm just kind of tucking that back there and keep that out of the way. So there it is. Another little shop tip: get a kit like this from Amazon. I can put the link for this in the description as well. These things are awesome. You can keep it in your toolbox or under your seat, and this will save your butt with trail repairs and just in the shop as well. So these little butt connectors have low temp solder in them and really sturdy heat shrink. And then the other ones are crimp, but the butt connectors have the solder. And you can solder these with a heat gun or a lighter or whatever you have. And then if you don't have a heat source, they have crimp style as well. Honestly, you could probably melt these on your tailpipe or manifold in an emergency. But this kit's really comprehensive, and I think it was about 10 bucks. So, you know, I used to go to the store and get the little packs, and they're expensive. And this stuff just is awesome. So highly recommended. Then inside the cockpit, I mounted the little switch right here, so it's easy to hit with your left hand, but it doesn't clutter up the dash. Can't even see it there. And the switch does require power, and I have like a little fuse block right there. Don't mind them wiring. That was my temporary solution. So power to the switch there with a fuse, and that's it. Super simple. Now for the moment of truth, I'm sure you want to hear it. You're gonna laugh. I'm pretty sure it's a motorcycle horn or a forklift horn or something, but I don't really care what it sounds like as long as it, you know, meets the requirement. So here you go. Loud enough to do the job, small enough that it's not really in the way. And once the wiring's in place, or if you get that wiring harness, you could put any kind of horn on it. So if I get sick of that one, I could put a regular horn on it, or like a dual tone or a hella horn or whatever. But now it's got a horn, so we're good there. Pretty much the last thing I needed to do to this to make it legal is you're not required to have a hood. Especially, this is a hot rod, but it's registered as an antique vehicle. So you don't have to have a hood, but you have to have some sort of fan shroud. So I thought about just building a shroud, but I do want some type of hood, mainly so that when we're out camping, or, you know, it's always inclement weather when I'm out, you know, the distributor might not get totally rained on overnight and things like that. And it'll make it look a little more Jeep-like. So, my buddy Pete sandblasted this hood for me. This is an original Willys hood from another parts Jeep, and I'm going to put that on here, and it comes back to about here, and then I'm going to create something that blends into the cowl. Maybe do some canvas sides, or I have a Model T hood over there. Maybe do some louvered sides. Maybe make it like a gull wing hood or something. I don't really know yet, but that's kind of my last winter project. We still have lots of cold weather, so in a future video you'll see me doing some work on this hood and painting it blue and making this look a little bit more complete. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.